I'm Brian O'Sullivan, and I was diagnosed with mantle cell lymphoma in May of 2021. January 2021, I said to myself, wow, I got through dreaded 2020 thinking I didn't get sick, I didn't get COVID, and I thought, wow, I'm doing great. Let me go back to get ready to start the new year out with a bang. So I said, let me go to the doctors, get a physical, be an adult, and get checked up. So I did some blood work, and all of a sudden, it seemed like I was fine, except I had no symptoms. I wasn't feeling sick whatsoever, and my white blood cell count was elevated at 16, where it's not supposed to be higher than 11. And I got scared. I went and I talked to my cousin, godmother, cancer survivor, medical doctor. I have her in my life, so I reached out to her and we talked about my scores, because I had gotten these scores on my phone. I didn't get them from the doctor. So this is January 2021. They suggested that I retest in a month, that maybe I just had a cold, and it sounded good to me. So a month later, I thought, I was hoping I'd retest and the blood work would be lower, but it was higher. It was higher, and I knew something was going on. So my doctor, she told me, my primary said, I want you to see a hematologist. And at that point, I was 49 years old. I had no idea what a hematologist was. I looked up this doctor online, and it said hematologist/oncologist. And I was like, yeah, I knew what an oncologist was. And with that, we set the appointment, and through a series of tests, a few more tests and blood work and physicals and checkups from this doctor, he told me in April of 2021, he said, you either have mantle cell lymphoma or CLL, which is chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a little bit more manageable, and mantle cell lymphoma is more rare, and it's not as manageable. But either way, at this point, your numbers are not as high. You don't really need to be treated right away. It's kind of like a watch and wait. And these are all terms I never knew about before. So I had to do one more test called a FISH test. So I took the FISH test, and in May of 2021, I remember it was a Friday night, and I was right here in the house, and it was still during the pandemic, and I was isolating, and my phone dinged, and it said, all of a sudden, my blood work came in, and it said, you have mantle cell lymphoma. And I'm like, what? And this is not what I expected. I expected the CLL. And it was like my heart kind of sunk, because what I did was I went on Dr. Google right then and there for my second opinion that night. And Dr. Google told me that men in their 60s get diagnosed with this and live 5 to 7 years. And I was like, I'm 49 years old. I'm too young for this. And at that point, all I could think about was my mother was going to have to bury her youngest, her baby. And that's what messed me up, because that night was a horrible night for me. I looked up mantle cell lymphoma, and I found these support groups of people all over the world, actually, in different stages of this disease. Some were in remission, some were in treatment, some were in watch and wait, and I found hope. I found a mantle cell lymphoma specialist in New Jersey. I'm in southern New Jersey, and this doctor's in northern New Jersey, and he was recommended by other MCL patients who become very knowledgeable, and I'm forever grateful to have. I still am in contact with these brothers and sisters in this family that I never wanted to be in. But I have the appointment. I set an appointment with this doctor, and I spoke with the first doctor that diagnosed me, and he said, okay, I want you to go for a second opinion. Definitely go for a second opinion. So this is what we did. We traveled up North Jersey and spoke to the doctor, and we did a lot of tests, including a bone marrow biopsy. And some other exams, and he started telling me about mantle cell lymphoma. And he said to me, he said, Brian, there's, in the spectrum of mantle cell lymphoma, there's 15% that are very aggressive, and there's 15% that are very indolent. And I was hoping he would tell me, I would say I was on the indolent side at this point, but he said, you are not on either of those ends. And he said, you're closer to the indolent side at this point, because my numbers were going up, but only slightly at this point. You know, this was June of 2021. My numbers had gone a little bit, but he recommended treatment as soon as possible. He said, why don't we take, he said, I want you to do other tests. He wanted me to go get an EKG. He wanted me to get some other tests to make sure that my heart was strong enough for chemotherapy. And he said, well, I'm going to come back. We'll see you in, you come back in August. That's what he said, August. He said, I want you to come back. And that was June. He said, I want you to come back in August. We'll go over all the results from the test, and we'll talk about the treatment. So I went, I got the test done he asked me to do. I got all the procedures done. We came back in August, and that's when he said to me, he said, Brian, I want you to start this treatment. I want you to start. He wanted me to use what's called targeted treatments, as opposed to the basic chemotherapy. He said, I want you to use IV, and you're going to be doing on IV, and you're also going to be doing an oral form of this particular targeted treatment. I said, okay, that sounds great. I said, he wants me to start it soon. I said, well, I planned this trip across the country. You know, I said I wanted to go see the country before I started my treatment. So he said, well, when you come back October of 2021, we're going to start treatments. This doctor was going to work with my first oncologist. They were going to work together, and I was the other oncologist is down, the first oncologist down here in South Jersey. So they were going to work together under his treatment plan, and I was going to go for my treatments here in South Jersey instead of having to travel an hour and a half each way. But in a nutshell, he told me that the insurance company did deny the treatments, and he was going to appeal them. They were going to appeal. He said, don't worry, we're going to appeal this. And I said, all right, great, thank you. And I started getting a little depressed at that point because my numbers just kept going. My white blood cell count had just kept rising and rising at this point, as did my depression level. So here I was getting rejected by the insurance company. I'm sick, I want to get better, and I'm not able to get better at this point. So that's where I was. And it continued like that until December of this. Now in December of 2021, I got a call from oncologist number 3, because I just kept getting rejection letters from the insurance company here at the house. I just kept getting them all the time, and it just made me even worse and worse, more and more depressed, because I know I'm getting sicker and sicker at this point. And so in December of 2021, I got a call from oncologist number 3 who wanted me to come in, and they wanted me to talk. I was local. They wanted me to talk about what's going on. So I did. I made an appointment, and I sat there with the doctor, and he said to me, he said, Brian, he said, the insurance company is denying the targeted treatment. They'll approve a basic chemotherapy for you, basic chemotherapy. He said, but when it fails, that's when they'll pay for the next round of treatments. They will pay for the next round. And I'm like, when it fails? So here I am, it's like they're setting me up for failure already. And I was like, he said, there is a doctor, another oncologist, this will be oncologist number 4, who is running a clinical trial that's using the exact same types of targeted treatments that the other oncologist wanted you to have. So I said, okay, let me reach out to this oncologist. Let me reach out to number 4. So we did. He actually sat there and emailed this doctor for me that day. He sat there right in the office and he emailed them, and they called me back. They called me back about a couple days later, setting up an appointment. They wanted me to come. So here I went up there, back up to North Jersey now, to oncologist number 4. That's all I knew them as at this point. In my mind, that's where I was. It's just more and more string of, at this point, my white blood cell count from in December, it went from 100 to 150. So now it's jumping up 50% at this point. And that's about 1,000 to 1,500% higher than it's supposed to be. And that was my main thing, is this white blood cell count. So every time it rises, that's when the depression just rises, because it's like, I'm sick, I want to get help, and I'm dying here. I'm thinking I'm gonna explode. I'm thinking I'm just gonna pop, because my white blood cell count was so high. I just was like, God, what's the matter? You know, it's like, what did I do to cause this? Why is this happening here? And then all of a sudden, I went for the appointment with the doctor for the clinical trial, who was running the clinical, and we did the whole battery test again, along with another bone marrow biopsy and everything else, because this is a new year, actually, because this is January 2022. And the doctor told me, she said to me, she said, I want to tell you more about the trial that we're offering here, that we're running. And if you qualify for this trial, you are going to be, you can start that day. So this is come back when you set your next appointment for February 3rd, 2022. That day is when you will have, and they didn't tell me for sure I was going to be eligible for this trial. I still had to qualify for it. In my mind, it was February 2nd, it got to February, and I still thought I'm not going to be accepted on this trial because of the whole string of rejections I've had before. So I just sat there more and more depressed, but I went there. And I never forget, February 3rd, 2022, I went to the doctor's office, and she said to me, she said, Brian, at this point, you are eligible for this clinical trial, and you can start healing today. And what next is I put my head down in her office, and I just started crying. I cried, and no one tried to stop me. I was crying out these tears. It was like, I would say this was 85% of this depression just left my body right then and there. I didn't even know if this trial was gonna work. I didn't know if this treatment was gonna work, but I knew I had the opportunity to heal using the same types of treatments that 3 other oncologists wanted me to use, who advocated for me. These doctors advocated for me because they knew, because my age, because I'm young for this disease, as I talked about earlier, they knew that the basic chemo is not going to work as much for me. Use the targeted treatments. And that day I was able to heal. My white blood cell count went from 206 to 131 that day after just 1 round of treatment. So I was using immunotherapy and oral pills, oral chemo pills, targeted treatments. So that's where I was. And then she told me it's going to be 24 cycles, and then after 8 cycles, we'll introduce another oral pill that you're going to take daily. So that was my chemo cocktail. My chemo cocktail for 24 months. After 8 cycles, I stopped using the IV. And for that, I'm forever grateful. I got some veins back even, you know, and I just continued to take my daily cocktails twice a day. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what the side effects were going to be. I never in my life did I think I'd be on chemotherapy, but they hooked me up. They hooked me up to the bed. I met the nurses, and actually the nurses there became family to me. It's like, I mean, I have a personality. They say I'm approachable anyway, but it wasn't like, I'm grateful for that. It's a sad place, but it's also a house of hope to me. There's a lot of hope going on there. And the staff took to me, and the doctors, and I'm grateful, because it's like, I was talking about having a love-hate relationship with technology, but here it is where I'm able to be on FaceTime with my family while I'm getting treatments, and I'm able to watch movies and read a book. It's not like I'm sitting there and I'm able to read audiobooks, and I'm able to read my Kindle and listen to audiobooks and do what I want. I got my own little treatment suite there. And so the staff was very friendly. My partner, she's very supportive of me, and always there for every appointment, and my family as well. And again, with the family being so spread out, again, technology is wonderful, so it could be on Zoom with my family and the doctor at the same time, or FaceTime. So I'm grateful for the support that my family and friends have shown me. Plus, I also started reaching out online, and I had always been on Facebook with just people I knew, but now I started connecting with others worldwide, not just with mantle cell lymphoma, but other types of lymphoma and other types of cancers as well. So I'd always been very cancer naive my whole life until I heard those 3 words, "You have cancer," and that changed my life forever. My treatments, my side effects were minimal. I'm blessed for that. The first day was a little bit rough because there's chemo going inside me. There's chemo, and I didn't know what to expect, but no, after a while, I'm grateful each day. Like I said, a day by day. Like I remember I heard someone in another chemo suite, they were having a tough time. They were very nauseous and they were throwing up as a result of this. And I said to the nurse, I whispered to her, I said, "I'm grateful that could be me, but I'm not there today. I'm here today. I'm in a good spot." And I just had to never compare, but just I can relate. And you know, it's like I can't compare anyone because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But today, I always say, cancer. Well, last year I was cancer free in 2023. This year, I'm showing cancer the door in 24, a day at a time. So it's like I know a day at a time is all we have today. I am very grateful for all the oncologists, the 4 oncologists I saw that led me to where I am today. I always say my current oncologist, who I no longer take treatments, I no longer take meds, because that was just December of last year, I was told that I am in remission. So for that was an amazing day. You know, I was just so ecstatic that day where I was just like, I've been waiting to hear that. It was the best day of my life. Hands down, the best day of my life. The doctor told me December 7th, 2023, she said to me, she said, "You are officially cancer-free." This was after my other the last bone marrow biopsy I had, the 3rd one, and the CAT scans and the PET scans and all these other tests I still wish I never heard of. But when she said that to me, it was like, so no, I am not taking the meds anymore, but I am still on the trial, as every 3 months I go for scans and I go for blood work. So my next appointment will be scans. And I'll tell you about scanxiety. I don't know if you ever, scanxiety is something I never heard about. See, I always thought cancer was a physical illness. I never realized the mental and emotional part to this disease. Whether it's my disease or any other cancer, it's just like, I would see people on Facebook, whatever, say, "Well, I have cancer," and I would pray for them. I would pray for them, but that's where it ended. That was the extent, because it wasn't involving me directly. All of a sudden now it's like, now it hits home, and it's like, God, I know what it's like. I remember being up at 3 o'clock in the morning, curled up in a fetal position, thinking that my mother was gonna bury me. And I don't want to be back there again. I don't, but it's so fresh in my memory right now, but it's like, you know what? I have to remember those days, because that was dark days of my life. I guess you've noticed I wear these neon colors like this, because, well, for one thing, neon green is the color of the lymphoma ribbon. And for another thing, I used to live in that world of darkness, and now I like to stay bright as best as I can. I like to shine. It helps. It helps me get through. It gets through those dark days, because I'm not gonna lie, of course I still have those moments that pop in. It's still cancer, but it's like, I'm not living there anymore. Occasionally I visit that place. It's a neighborhood I don't want to live in, but I will visit once in a while, not intentionally, but I have to remember, and I have to remember where I was and where I am today in a beautiful place. It's like I'm not 100% better with my mind and my depression, my anxiety, but I'm getting better a day at a time. So I'm in a good spot today, and that's all we got is today, and that's where I'm at, and I'm happy to be here.
I'd really like to thank Master Bio for giving me this opportunity to talk about my experience, strength, and hope for my clinical trial. That's healing me from lymphoma. Master Bio matches people, patients, my brothers and sisters with clinical trials for free. And it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. It's the opportunity to get the newest cutting edge treatments and medications.
Emotional and mental challenges I've had, they creep up on you because like I talked about, today I'm in a good spot, but during my treatment, I would have these moments come up, these moments of panic and fear and anxiety. My doctor did prescribe medication for that. She wants to know exactly what trial I'm on, exactly what types of medications I'm on. But I've also, again, reached out to my support, and I've not been afraid to talk about my cancer. I talk about it online. I talk about it with support groups I've found online and in person. And I was able to find people dealing with the same illness as me, talking about the same fears as me as well. Because scanxiety, like I talked about before, is definitely real. It's not a term I wish I ever heard of, but when I know I have a scan coming up, I start to think in my mind, it's like, I don't want to live my life thinking this disease is going to come back every day. I don't want to live that way because that's no way to live. I need to enjoy the moment I'm in right now and just enjoy today. But to be honest, that fear will creep up because it's cancer, and it's like and I'm gonna remember where I was, and I just need to take that little those thoughts that come in my head and think like, God, is this like, if tomorrow was my scan day, I'd probably be in a panic right now thinking like, is this cancer going to be back? And I'll find out tomorrow. It's like every 3 months I find out if you've got a clean bill of health, and it plays on my head. It plays with my mind, and it's like it messes with me. But I have learned to find that support, and I can reach out to the support groups I'm involved in. And like I said, I've met people in those met brothers and sisters that I'm comfortable with reaching out. I could talk to my partner. She's always there for me. And for those who don't have, it's like we have to find somebody. We have to find somebody out there. I'm grateful for the family that I have. I'm grateful for the biological family and the cancer family that I've made. It's like that is a cancer support family, that cancer family, but it's my brother, again, it's my brothers and sisters on this journey that I wish I never had, but I'm grateful for the support that I do have, that I can reach out. And once a week we have a virtual support group, people all over on Zoom, and I sit there and I'm able to discuss my feelings and feel like I'm not being judged. And that helps as well. It truly does. There's a lot of help out there. We just have to take the initiative and go out and find that help and reach out for that. These experiences have showed me that life is very short and precious, and we need to handle it with care because we have one life. I remember even as a kid, I was always like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do this in a year. 10 years from now, where am I gonna be? I know that I'm not guaranteed anything other than this very moment, not even just today, this very moment, because anything can happen. So it showed me also to slow down, relax, and enjoy life, enjoy the moment. Enjoy my family, enjoy spending time, enjoy different activities that I never really saw as much. I love walking, I love being outside, I love being in nature, and it's just like, I was always just in a rush, get through this, get through that, do this, do that. And it's like, now it's like, I really have shown me the time. I took, it's like cancer has changed my life in so many different ways, and it's like, well, one way is it has as I talked about driving across the country earlier, it's like I said to myself, why did it take me almost 50 years and this lymphoma to get out and see the Grand Canyon, to get out and see the national parks? It's like, no, you know, it's like it took what it took, and I'm on that trip and I enjoyed it. I got to see the country, and it showed me how much beauty there is in this country, and it showed me how much beautiful things there are to see. And I will never say I'm grateful I got diagnosed with cancer, but the thing is, I am grateful for the gifts I have now to realize I can, to just be able to slow down. That's one thing I really enjoy, is walking by the river. It's a good moment for me to be alone, not alone, it's with nature, at one with my higher power, you know, my higher power, that I can sit and I can meditate and talk and relax. And so another way to relax from the tension we were talking about earlier, and the anxiety. That's what I've been seeking, is peace and serenity, to be calm, to enjoy life and be okay with myself. Because when I was younger, I needed to be around people, this and that. I thought it would be a cool thing to do this and that, but you know what? I enjoy spending alone time, my me time. And walking through the woods is, you never know who you're gonna see, what you're gonna see, what kind of animals, what kind of wildlife. There's a particular place I go, it's really close to here. It's called the Nature Cove, and you see deer in there, you see birds, just, you know, it's like me being at one and calming down and taking time. I meditate at night, but it's like, it's just to walk through the woods and see nature. And for that, I'm forever grateful that I had that ability to walk, to be able to walk and to calm down and relax and just enjoy all the gifts that my higher power has provided. Has provided the beauty of being outside, whether it's cloudy, whether it's rainy, sunny. You know what? This too shall pass. You know, like if it's a cloudy day today, tomorrow hopefully will be a sunny day. The best advice I could give someone who's just diagnosed with lymphoma is stay off of Google. You know, don't stay off the internet, I should say. You know, I did that the night I was diagnosed, and I went down those rabbit holes. The best advice I could say is talk with the doctors. Talk with your doctors, talk with your family, talk with people that have been there. And just stay out of your head, actually. Stay out of the head, because the head, my father used to say, your head could be a dangerous neighborhood for you to be in when you're alone. And it's true. So stay out of your head and speak with those and get their experience, strength, and hope. I know there's hope. I know a lot of information online was outdated, and it scared me, but I know this. I see people with mantle cell lymphoma. I've met people in person with 15, 16 years after diagnosis, still living a wonderful life. In fact, that lady, I met her in Tennessee, and she said to me, she says, I am way past my expiration date. And I never forget that. She said, I'm way past my expiration date. And that's another thing, is when people would say about, oh, the doctor says you have 3 years or something. Ah, man, you know, no doctor's gonna be able to tell me how much time I have left to live. You know, the time I have is today. So that is one thing I definitely wish that I knew then, is to realize the hope that's there, because in the beginning there was no hope for me. I was depressed. I was curled up, like I said, I was curled up in that fetal position, 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't sleep. And I feel like I wasted time back then. I did. That's one thing I wish I could get back, is that time that I wasted feeling sorry for myself, feeling depressed. And I really hope that I can tell someone and share with someone my hopes, my experiences, and maybe that can help them. Because that's what I try to do on a daily basis, is share my experience, strength, and hope with somebody and reach someone. If I had to share one message of hope with someone currently battling lymphoma, I'd have to say, I can't give you any medical advice. I cannot. But I can give you that hope that I know where I was just 3 years ago. I know exactly where I was. I was not in a good spot. But now it's like, am I in a great spot? Most days I am. So that message of hope I can is keep fighting, keep going. Don't let the disease get you. Don't let the disease win. I always say Brian and many others win today, cancer loses. With that, I'm going to take another 24 hours and say thank you. Thank you to my higher power for giving me this 24 hours, because giving me that hope. That's what I say. Like I said, Brian and many others win. I win today, cancer loses, because I'm here. And if I can look at it like as a message of hope like that I woke up, it's a good day today. You might not be feeling well physically, might not be feeling well mentally, emotionally, psychologically, but you know what? I got a chance because I'm here today. Where I am today is a whole lot better where I was just 3 short years ago. And you saw earlier I was crying because I remember where I was. I remember where I sat. I remember the first day I got that diagnosis and I was super depressed. And I found that the best way for me to get out of that, there's an old saying, depression can't hit a moving target. So for me, I needed to get out of bed. I needed to get out of bed. I needed to get up. I needed to walk around. I needed to show others that I'm beating this thing a day at a time. I am winning this. I am winning today. I am here. I am wearing this neon green that I wear because I know I lived in that world of darkness for so long. So my mindset is that I can beat this today because I'm here. And what I want to do, as I said before, is being cancer naive my whole life to not knowing about it, to not wanting to know about it, to wanting to spend my life with those whose lives have been affected by lymphoma or another form of cancer, by going out and advocating. I hope I've reached you. I hope I've touched your life today. I've shown you some hope. And if you want to find me, I'm on social media. I'm on social media 25 hours a day. But if you Google, which is not my favorite website, obviously, as I've talked about before, but if you Google Brian O'Sullivan, Mantle cell lymphoma, you're going to find me. The first time I ever was asked to be an advocate was with the New Jersey Leukemia and Lymphoma Society when I spoke with my doctor at an educational event live, and that was November 2022, and I was nervous. I was very nervous because here I was wearing a suit, and I was sitting up there in front, and I was reading this speech, and I just was like, I was giving this speech and people were relating to me. I know they were relating to me. And I was told that night, because I heard a lot of yeses, because there was patients there was doctors, there was caretakers, there was LLS employees, there was social workers, and I got a lot of feedback afterwards about how much I really touched and how people could relate with me, because I know I'm just me. I'm a cancer warrior. That's who I am. I'm a lymphoma warrior. I'm a survivor. I am. I always say I'm not just a lymphoma survivor, I'm a thriver as well. So that's where Brian's journey is now. Now that I am cancer-free a day at a time, I want to share my message of hope with others. And I've been down to Washington, D.C. So when I talk, I hope I can reach at least one person, whether it be another patient, whether it be a warrior, whether it be a family member, whether it be a partner, a caretaker, a medical professional. And I've been blessed. I've been grateful to be able to talk in front of a lot of different crowds. I've gone down to Tennessee to talk on a panel down there. I've gone on some online panels. But I've gone down to Washington, D.C. and talked to policymakers, shared my journey, my journey about the depression and also clinical. I'm going in May. I'll be going in a couple of months to talk about clinical trials, which I'm forever grateful is. Clinical trials have saved my life, and I know they can save a lot of others. So that's why I advocate for those, as well as the financial toxicity caused by cancer. But that's it's good for me. It's great for me to be able to share that with others, because I don't want to. I know sometimes I talk about cancer a lot, and people say, "Oh," and it's like I can't forget about it. I need to be there for the next time. I want to be there for somebody when they get diagnosed. I'll give you a prime example. I talk on Instagram. I do videos on Instagram, and I had a young lady reach out to me one time. She reached out to me through Messenger. I never forget. She said to me that her father got diagnosed with mantle cell lymphoma, the same as me, and she Googled it the same as I did, and she went through a very dark place the same way I did. And she said she went to Instagram and she put that in the search bar. She typed hashtag mantle cell lymphoma, and she said, "I found you." She found me wearing colors like this, the green, this and that, talking about my journey, talking about Brian's journey, talking about how healing and there is hope out there. And for me, I'll never forget her saying that to me, because I've connected with her father as well, and her father's in remission today. And that's a beautiful thing, you know? It really is. It just warms my heart. If I can be a beacon of hope for someone and show you that there is hope, that's a mission accomplished. My work is done today. That's a beautiful thing. And just to know that I could touch somebody else like that, and I want to continue doing that for the rest of my life.